Hi everyone, so what I'm going to be doing for this video is I'm going to be working with components and how we can set up these components, reuse these components, pass over props, and then set default colors, but then pass over colors as needed, and then use it for specific components. So let's first set up the project here. I'm going to do npx create next app. And I'll just call this you can call this whatever you like. And I'm going to say no for TypeScript and no for ESLint. So now it's done, I'm just going to drag and drop this folder over into Visual Studio. And we're going to go into Pages here, Index, and I'm just going to get rid of some of the code. I'm just going to get rid of some code here in the main. And inside this main tag, I'm just going to leave it empty, or I'm just going to say content here, something like this. And what I want to do first is I want to create a banner, and this banner, it's going to be on every page, but I'll keep it on just this one page for now. But I need to first create a components folder. So here in the empty space, I'm just going to say new folder, and then I'll just type components. And so we have another folder in our root directory, and it's called components. And we're just going to create a new folder here, and we're going to say it's banner. And I'm just going to say index.js. And then I'm going to say another file for banner.module.css. So it's just specific to that banner. But in this index.js here for the banner, what we're going to do is we're going to just set up the default template. And I'm just going to set up a div here. And what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to stylize this a bit here. So here I'm going to call this a container. So I will set up a class name. And it's going to be, because we didn't import it yet, it's not going to know. So let's import this at the top first. So I need to import the CSS the CSS file I just created. Import styles from and right here in the class name I'll say styles dot. I'm gonna say this is the container. So I'm gonna save this for right now first. And here in the banner.module.css, I'm just gonna say dot container because it's a class, you always put a dot. And here I'm just going to add a width of 100% and then a height of 400 pixels. And I'm going to save this. And right now there should be nothing, it's just going to be blank because there's no color to it or anything. I can put some text here, I guess, if I wanted to. I'll say banner here, save it. And what I can do is back in this index.js file, I'm going to import this components over so I could reuse this here in my actual file. So what I need to do is I need to import this component over. So I'll import banner from components banner. And you can see here that we just need to say banner right there in the URL or in the pathway because index.js is just the default inside the banner folder, so it already knows to go into that index.js file. And what we can do here now is just use this banner keyword in this main or in this home folder, and I'll say banner. And now that we have this set up, let's take a look as to what happens in our actual browser. So I'm just going to go to localhost. So I'm just going to run this first. So let's take a look at what happens here in the browser. So if I move this over here, you can see that we have something here, but there's no colors or anything, so it's nothing special. So let's actually add some kind of stylizing or something creative to it. This way it'll look more interesting. Let's minimize this, and inside this banner, let's say we have color is equal to blue. So we want to make this banner a blue color. So in order to pass this over, all we have to do is we can set up a variable. This is like a key and then value pair. So this key is color. So all we can do is in this banner, index.js here, right here inside these rounded parentheses, we can use the curly brace here. And then here we can set up color. And my default color that I put here is red. So I need to make sure that I set this up properly. So this is with an equal sign. So just be careful as to where you put equal sign and where you put just a regular colon. So here we need to put equal, and my default is red. So what I can do here, if there's nothing that's passed over, no color that's passed over, it'll automatically default to red. But here, what I want to do now is I'm going to say style is equal to background color. And the background color that I'm going to give it here is, I'm actually just giving it the color prop. So if there's any color that's actually being passed over, we're going to display it here with this background color. If there's nothing passed over, we just get the default color of red. So let me save it. If we go back to index.js, we should see a banner with this blue color that's being passed over. And in order to compare this, let me just copy this and make a second one. Because this is a reusable component, we can use this component over and over and over again. You can see here one has the key value pair for color. The other one does not, so we should get a default of red for this one that does not have that key value pair. So let's save it, and I'm going to check in the browser now. So it looks like we do have the blue and the red. So let's just take a look as to why we don't have the height in our CSS. We might have misspelled something. Okay, class name. I just spelled class name wrong, so make sure you spell class name correctly. So now we should get that background color of what we want, and this height should be 400 pixels for each. So there we go. So first one is blue because we passed over the value of blue. And then the second one is red because we passed over the color of nothing. Because there's nothing passed over, we just get the default of red. That is right here. So you can see how these reusable components, like if you have multiple buttons, you can have like maybe 40 different buttons on the same page, but instead of rewriting the button component over and over again, you can reuse that same button and just change the text inside the button, which I'll show you in another example. But for now, this is how you use or set up reusable banner components.